I request all the participants to mute yourself.
Please join the magazine.
Rishabh sir?
Yes, I am here.
Welcome sir. Very good morning.
Thank you.
Vipin sir? Vipin sir? Vipin sir? Yeah. Good morning sir. Welcome to you sir. I welcome all the participants. Good morning, sir.
Yeah, good morning, Dr. Pushpa.
Good morning, sir. We will start the session, sir.
Yeah, sure.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Good morning, one and all present here. I am Vinuta K, Assistant Professor, Department of Information Science and Engineering, BMS Institute of Technology and Management. It gives me an immense pleasure to welcome you all to the 5-day National Level Faculty Development Program on Mobile Application Development using Android OS in association with CSI, Digipix Technologies and Institution Innovation Council. It is a mark of our tradition to invoke the Almighty at the beginning of important event. Like the great philosopher once said, the function of a prayer is not to influence a god, but rather to change the nature of the one who prays. So now I request Meghna L, the student of 3rd SEM IOC, for the invocation song. Meghna, you can start.
Thank you, ma'am. Ma'am, am I audible?
Yes, Meghna.
Thank you, ma'am. गणनायकाय गणदैवताय गणाध्यक्षाय धीमहि गुणशरीराय गुणमण्डिताय गुणेशानाय धीमहि गुणादित्याय गुणाधीशाय गुणप्रविष्टाय धीमहि एकदन्ताय वक्रतुण्डाय गौरीतनयाय धीमहि गजेशानाय बालचन्द्राय श्रीगणेशाय धीमहि गानचतुराय गानप्राणाय गानान्तरात्मने गानोत्सुकाय गानमट्टाय गानोत्सुकमनसे गुरुपूजिताय गुरुदैवताय गुरुकुलस्थायिने गुरुविक्रमाय गुरुप्रवराय गुरवे गुरवे गीतसाराय गीततात्वाय गीतगोत्राय धीमहि एकदन्ताय वक्रतुण्डाय गौरीतनयाय धीमहि गजेशानाय बालचन्द्राय श्रीगणेशाय धीमहि. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Meghna. Thank you so much. We all feel blessed indeed. Now, I would like to request Dr. Pushpa, SK, HOD, Information Science of Engineering, BMSITM, to welcome the gathering.
Thank you, madam. The future of mobile is the future of online. It is how people access online content. App development will provide us new opportunities for budding engineers. A very good morning to all. I am Dr. Pushpa SK, Professor and HOD, Department of ISC. I extend a warm welcome to all present here today for the inaugural function of the online national level 5-day faculty development program on mobile application development using Android OS. Being jointly organized by the Department of Information Science and Engineering, BMS Institute of Technology and Management, and Digipix Technologies in association with CSI, Bangalore, and Institution Innovation Council. I extend a warm welcome to BMS Educational Trust officials for all their encouragement in conducting such events. I wholeheartedly invite our chief guest, Mr. Rishabh Tripathi, Vice President, SAP Labs India. Sir has vast experience as developer, team leader, development manager, senior development manager, and presently working as Vice President. In spite of his busy schedule, Sir has accepted our invitation. I wholeheartedly welcome you, sir.
Thank you so much, madam.
I extend warm welcome to our today's guest of honor, keynote speaker, Mr. Vipin Shivashankaran, Vice President at SAP Labs India. Sir is expert in agile methodologies and design thinking. He has been a design thinking coach, mentoring multiple projects. I wholeheartedly welcome you, sir.
Thank you.
I wholeheartedly welcome the president of today's function, Dr. Mohan Babu GN, Principal, BMSIT-ISE-LEARNING-CHANNEL. It's my pleasure to read out a brief profile of our beloved principal, Dr. Mohan Babu GN.
Dr. Pushpa,
Yes, sir.
I don't think that is needed. Yeah, please go
So,
ahead.
we have many participants from various.
No, I would
yes.
advise you, if you have the profiles of guests, you should be
Yes.
read it out. Yeah, not me.
Yes, sir. And Dr. Mohan Babu GN is instrumental in fetching a grant of rupees 8.53 crores in Malnad College of Engineering, Hassan, under the World Bank Aid Government of India project TechWip. Sir is instrumental in fetching NAC A-grade NDA accredited AICT CII survey in platinum category, NIRF ranking within 150, and a permanent affiliation, 2F, UGC recognition, autonomy status for BMSIT and M. Sir has initiated many academic processes which are in line with our institution strategic plan. His vision for your motivation and guidance in all our activities. I wholeheartedly welcome you, sir.
Yeah, thank you very much.
I extend warm welcome to Dr. H.K. Govindraju, Vice Principal, BMSIT-ISE-LEARNING, for his support in all our events. I extend warm welcome to Mr. Praveen A.L., Founder and CEO of Digipix Technologies, Bengaluru, and his team for collaborating with BMSIT-ISE-LEARNING and sharing their industrial expertise in mobile app development. I extend thank you, sir. I extend warm welcome to Dr. C.S. Mala, Dean Student Welfare, Dr. Anil GN, Dean Academics, Dr. Seema Singh, Dean External Relation, all HODs of the department, faculty and support staff. I extend warm welcome to all the organizing members for their sincere efforts in organizing this online 5-day faculty development program led by Dr. Manjunath TN, Professor, Department of ISC. I wholeheartedly welcome all the faculty from various states like Maharashtra, Tamil Nadu, Telangana, Karnataka, student participants, and wishing this online FDP would be a great success. Wishing you all a happy day. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Now I request Professor Mahalakshmi S. to introduce our chief guest, Mr. Rishabh Tripathi, to the audience. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, Professor Vinuta. I'm very happy to introduce Mr. Rishabh Tripathi to you all. Mr. Rishabh completed his BTech Chemical Engineering at Harcourt Butler Technological Institute, Kanpur. He has done his PGDIT from International Institute of Information Technology, Bangalore. He also completed his Executive Postgraduate Program in Strategy and Finance from Indian Institute of Management, Kozhikode. He also has done leadership bootcamp program from Indian School of Business. Mr. Rishabh has started his career as a developer, and he has worked as a developer for 3 years, and he has contributed as a team leader for 3.5 years in SAP Labs. He has moved to as a development manager and worked as a development manager for 8.5 years, and he has completed as a senior development manager for 2 years, and he is now currently working as a vice president for the past 3 years. I welcome you, sir.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mahalakshmi ma'am. I request our chief guest, Mr. Rishabh Tripathi, sir, to address the gathering.
Thank you. And sounds a little odd, I think, things like chief guest and all. But I mean, when Dr. Pushpa approached me for this event and asked me if I could be a part of it, I readily agreed. I think I have been associated with the college now for the last couple of years and closely working with the department. And I must say that I think what is really very visible is the passion that is there to kind of ensure the best of knowledge that can be imparted to the students. And I think I've been involved in the review of the curriculum and other things as well. And I think it's really great to see such uh, openness in terms of where we all sit together to see what is going well, what is it that can be done better to kind of prepare our students even better for the future. And I think that's when I also got to know about this faculty development program. I think it was really something very interesting that I found, and absolutely the right thing to do, because at times I think these kind of events are typically kept only for students. But what is true, or what is even, I would say, more important is that the students, where they learn from is the faculty. And I think if the faculty is really on top of things, up to date with the latest trends and technology, and really hands on for this, I think is where the students can get much more encouragement and much more motivation to really do it the way. It's the same in the corporate world as well. Although the profile, when we get into a senior position as well, I think, and unless we are still somewhat contributing to the topic and to the content and to what is happening on the ground, I think the kind of respect that we will get otherwise will not be the same. I think it's the same with the faculty as well. And I think that's where this is a wonderful program that's been designed, and I'm sure it will be a great uh, help to all the faculty to kind of utilize this, and then to come up with their own thoughts and ideas as to what kind of apps that could be maybe useful for the others. And I think it would also be a great step in the direction for the students, because I think that's what the idea is, that I think once the students kind of pass out from this college, I think they are ready for the industry. They are already in a place where they can start contributing from the beginning itself, and that's the kind of students that the corporates are also really looking forward for. So in that sense, I think this is probably the perfect initiative, and I think it's great to see such so many of people being a part of it. So yeah, I think I was also asked to do a keynote for this, and one thing was that I'm actually traveling today, and I think but I didn't want to miss this chance, so I still wanted to at least be here. But for the keynote, I also have one of my dear friends and peer, I think, who is probably more suited to do this, because he leads a team which has been working on app development itself for the last years. And I think he is so Vipin, my colleague, will be doing that, and I think that's where we'll try to give you a little bit more insights into what we think and what app development, why it's important, and what are the things there. So that's what I want to kind of just say now, and I just want to wish all of you, a great workshop, and I hope that it's a great learning experience, because I think, as we all know, I think learning never stops. I think whatever age and stage that we are in, I think as long as we keep learning, we keep upskilling ourselves, is what kind of keeps us going. So that's what I mean, I see the spirit here as well, and I think really great to see that. And yeah, with this, I would hand it back to you, madam.
Thank you, Rishabh sir. Thank you for your great words. Now I request our Vice Principal sir, Dr. Govind Raju, to address all.
Vinuta ma'am.
Okay. Yes, ma'am. Okay.
Yeah.
I just move forward. I request our beloved Principal sir, Dr. Mohan Babu Jian, to give presidential address.
Yeah, good morning to you all.
Good morning, sir.
Yeah, Mr. Govind Raju is on an industry internship, and he may not be able to join now. Maybe you are not aware of it, maybe. Huh? Am I audible to you all?
Yes, sir. You are audible,
Yes, sir.
sir.
Yeah. Warm greetings to you. The department which is coordinating this event, Mr. Rishabh, Mr. Vipin, okay, who are the very right persons, very apt persons to be speaking on this occasion, and all the participants, both faculty from other institutions and BMSIT, and also students of various institutions. I'm so happy that Department of Information Science and Engineering is conducting a program, especially faculty development program, on this very important topic of mobile application development using Android OS. Of course, this is the area that is trending now, and I think this workshop will serve a huge purpose, very good purpose over there. Let me congratulate the entire team of faculty and staff of the Department of IS for this. It's a good effort. I'm happy about it. And BMSIT is, of course, I need not boast about BMSIT. Maybe many of you are aware of it. In case if you are not aware of it, I assure you that this is one of the best institutions that you can bank upon for participating in faculty development and so on. I'm sure that you will get a wonderful takeaway by the end of the programs. The reason being, this institution has got a very high credibility and also visibility. Credibility in terms of accreditations by the national bodies like NBA, NAC, and also a very good ranking by NIRF. Right, very recently granted by UGC. The autonomy has been granted by UGC also. Likewise, the institution has been proving its mettle all through these years, and I'm sure that any FDP conducted by this institute would be a very standard and classic FDP. And I would say, in fact, I would totally agree with Mr. Rishabh's statement that there is a huge amount of passion in not just the Department of IS, but also in the entire institution to come up with very good, very constructive, very value-adding activities. One of them being this faculty development program. And we have identified the importance of upgrading the faculty's quality and competence, because as Rishabh said, a person who doesn't actually keep upgrading his skills would be relegated to the not second place, to the last, I would say. Especially as we rise up the ladders, it is very important for us to keep ourselves updated and abreast with the latest developments and technologies, and also develop the ability to lead others in that particular direction. I'm sure that most of the first, second, and third level leaders in the institute of BMSIT are doing are on track or online very much. Okay, in fact, I would say that there has been a very serious work at BMSIT to help students to acquire very strong fundamentals in the subjects they learn, and also teachers of BMSIT and staff of BMSIT strive hard to come up with various pedagogical initiatives so as to make the content delivered very effectively to the students over there. This is very important. Of course, we focus on fundamentals, we focus on contemporary issues, and we focus on experiential learning in terms of project-based learning. There are so many academic initiatives, some of which were mentioned by our colleagues earlier, which are all aimed towards strengthening the not just academic abilities of the students, but also their non-academic abilities, whether it is sports or maybe societal sensitivity or ethics, whatever. I'm sure that our effort will pay off through our students to the society in the long run over there. I welcome all of you, both the faculty and students, to this particular event. And I would encourage you people to network with the faculty of BMSIT and also the speakers who are lined up to deliver excellent talks to you, and also your fellow participants, so that networking pays a lot in the days to come. I'm sure that your research efforts can be augmented with the help of this kind of a network. I'm sure that this particular FDP that our Department of ISE is conducting will be a very big success in terms of its effectiveness and efficiency, and in terms of its outcome. Thank you very much for giving me an opportunity to be with you today. I wish you all the best. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. As always, it was a great words, motivational words for us. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Now I request Dr. Narsimurthy, sir, for vote of thanks.
Thank you, madam. Good morning, everybody. I am Dr. Narsimurthy MS, Assistant Professor in the Department of Information Science and Engineering. I am very privileged to propose the vote of thanks on this occasion of the inaugural function of 5-day national level FTP on mobile application development using Android OS. First, I would like to thank all the trust officials for their kind support in conducting the faculty development program in the college as well as in the Department of Information Science and Engineering. I take this opportunity to thank Sri CG Rishabh Tripathi sir for having accepting our invitation to be the chief guest of this day and motivating us with his kind words. Thank you very much, sir, for gracing the occasion. I also take this opportunity to thank Sri Vipin Shivaramakrishnan from SAP Labs India Private Limited for accepting our invitation to deliver the keynote address. I also take this opportunity to thank our beloved principal sir for all the motivation, and is a person who is the source of inspiration to all of us in conducting various events and activities in the department as well as in the college. I also take this opportunity to thank our vice principal sir, Dr. H.K. Govindaraju sir, in his absentia. I also take this opportunity to thank all the deans of BMSITM and HODs of various departments. It's my I fail in my duty if I don't thank our sponsors, Digipix Technology, for having accepting our invitation, and they are providing us a resource person for the last 2 days of this FTP. I also thank the CSI officials for sponsoring this event. I also take this opportunity to thank all the participants who have shown interest in attending this FTP, and I thank all the participants for your interest. I also thank all the faculty members of Department of Information Science and Engineering for their effort in making this inaugural function a grand success. And I also thank the student volunteers and coordinators for coordinating this event. So once again, I thank you very much. I thank you.
Thank you, sir. Now we will be having a break for 2 minutes. So the next session will be a keynote address by Mr. Vipin Shivashankaran sir. So just wait for 2 minutes so that we can make all the arrangements for the presentation. So after that, we will be having a session by keynote speaker. Thank you all. Thank you, Vanessa. Vipin sir, can we start with sir? Yeah, yeah, thank you. Good morning, one and all. I welcome you all for the keynote address by Mr. Vipin Shivashankaran, sir. So now I request Veena ma'am to introduce Vipin, sir.
Thank you, Vinita ma'am. So I'm Dr. Veena, working as Assistant Professor in the Department of IAC. So now it's my pleasure to introduce Vipin Shivashankaran, sir. Sir has completed his bachelor degree from RVC, Bangalore, postgraduate diploma in international business from IIFT, Delhi. Mr. Vipin has 17 years of experience and leading practices in the area of product design, development, delivery management, people management, partner engagement, budgeting, and customer management. He has 13 years with SAP Labs India Private Limited, Bangalore, responsible for localizing SAP products for the world in S/4HANA logistics, cloud, and industry solutions. He is an expert in procurement, sales, indirect taxation, industry solution, and cloud solution. He's been actively engaged as an advisory in business consulting for internal and external forums. Mr. Vipin was responsible for setting up a cloud development unit for S/4HANA Cloud focused on freer application development. He was a location head for the experience unit responsible for planning delivery, people, and quality. Sir has extensive experience in effectively building sustainable solutions for BRIC, Latin America, and fast growth markets. The key account ownership partnering with Fortune 100 customers, SAP sales and development organization to enable SAP solutions for over 30 countries. Mr. Vipin has an experience in managing cross-location teams, India, Germany, and China. He is responsible for conceptualizing a SaaS and microservice framework to manage e-documents requirements for all SAP solutions and customer base. He holds a multiple patents on e-invoicing solution. Sir is also an expert in agile methodologies and design thinking. Sir has been a design thinking coach for the last 3 years, mentioning multiple projects. So thank you, sir. We welcome you to this FDP.
Thanks a lot, ma'am. Thanks a lot for the warm introduction. Thank you for inviting.
Thank you, Vipin, sir. We are happy to have you here today. So over to you, sir. You can start the session.
Thank you. First up, you would have to give me a heads up.
Yes, sir. It's visible, sir.
Great. Thank you. Yeah, I mean, I wanted to spend this probably about 30 minutes, and that's that's how this is kind of paced out. Talking to you not really only about mobile app development, but kind of giving you a perspective in terms of how the world is changing, how digitalization has more or less become part of the life, is a trend which is changing even beyond our comprehension at times. What are the kind of top trends that we're looking at? More importantly, also kind of spending some time discussing with you what would be the skills of the future, how does that look like, and then getting into app development. Why do we need apps, and what are the principles and probably the best practices that we look at when we want to look at it? And the whole thing is, is kind of more centered around some of the experiences that we've had over the years, experiences that we've had when we discuss with customers and what requirements are, and of course a lot in terms of the skills and what is needed from a workforce.
Excuse me, sir.
Hello. Yes.
Sir, your voice is very low, sir.
Just a sec. Is this better now?
Yes, sir. It's better now.
Okay, good. Sorry about that. Yeah, no, I was, basically also kind of, let me probably just give you then a very small snapshot. If a lot of it has not been heard. we were looking at, wanted to kind of spend some time talking to you about in terms of how the world is changing, what is the digitalization that is happening, what are the kind of trends that we're looking at going into the future, what are the kind of skills that we would need, and we are looking at people or the young talents who join us from from colleges. Overall, it's because of the kind of digitalization, because of the kind of changes that we've seen across in the world, the skills also to a great extent have changed. The skills that we used to look at 10 years back are definitely not the same skills that we look at right now. Not just from a technology perspective, but I'll touch on that. Right. And ending on with why do we need apps? What development bring into the space? What are the kind of principles and best practices we need to look at when we get into app development? And most of this definitely is from the experiences that we had over the years, working with customers, building solutions, and also kind of onboarding any talents from different colleges, working with them now for the last 15 to 16 years. So with that, the digitalization, we've seen how the world is transformed. We said there was an industry revolution, and then we have the new age information revolution that has come up. This revolutions earlier used to happen in the space of decades. It used to take 20 to 30 years for revolutions to come. We are now in the world where revolutions happen every 2 years or 3 years probably. What we were using 5 years back is not what we're using right now. The kind of technologies, the kind of solutions that we are used to at this instance is different from what we were using a decade back. 90s was started off with the internet, and of course the foundation of the big companies that we are now looking at, like Amazon, Netflix, Google. 2000s, the first BlackBerry phone. This was, I guess, the only phone which was more from a connected perspective, an enterprise phone where you could look at emails, you could respond to emails, which is now part of your life. Like, you can't even imagine having a phone which is not just, this is now the basic of what a phone would have to do from an expectation perspective from a user, right? An interesting fact about 2000s was also the first time that Facebook changed the way social interactions happen, changed the way in terms of how you look at people getting together and connecting socially. And the first time that they introduced something called as a like button, which was a very, very small, people might have missed looking at that particular button at that point of time. But if you look at it now over decades, you will see how that one specific thought of just a like has changed the way people interact, the people experience, and also has become a part of not just Facebook but every other social platform, right? And that is more in terms of how it influences your behavior and how it makes you think differently, and then it becomes part of your lifestyle. Okay. 2010s was more 4G, which kind of at that point of time revolutionized the kind of data that we are looking at. The mobile usage exponentially grew up. At close to about 5 billion people using the mobile phones. And if in 2000s, if somebody had spoken about 5 billion mobile phone users, that would have been probably laughed off. But this is where we are, and we'll look at also data right now in terms of where we are. 2020 is now changing the way people interact, changing the way that we look at things. RPA, for example, or conversational AI bots. How many times do we now call up for appointments? Most of the companies, most of the hospitals, most of them from a customer-centric perspective have bots which are interacting with you, which take what your needs are, and then provide you with an appointment, or provide you with a service or an answer that you're looking for. To a great extent, we'll move on into into using conversational bots and conversational AI to interact with their customers and take away the what we call as now the kind of ritual of just somebody walking into a bank all the time. So this transformation from how businesses work from a brick and mortar perspective to how businesses are changing, how businesses were communicating with customers, how businesses were interacting with customers in the 90s, to how they're interacting with customers, how they're keeping track of customers in the 2020s. this is unforeseen. This has gone through such a big change, such a huge paradigm shift, and all of us, knowingly or unknowingly, have been part of it to a great extent. What are the kind of trends that we're looking at? Yeah, we're looking at a whole lot of trends, and some of them might sound to be buzzwords to you, but now when we look at customers and we look at how customers are using applications and using solutions, most of the customers will not be able to kind of run the business a whole lot in some way or the other without without this particular without the solutions. Data analytics is become the key behind.
Vipin, just one thing. This is
Yes,
Rishabh here.
yes,
Vipin, I
Rishabh.
think there's still a kind of a glitch in your sound, so it's a little inconsistent. I don't know whether it's the internet or the
Must be the
mic,
internet.
but
Just
it's
probably, just probably give me a second. Yeah, overall, just a second. Is it audible or is it absolutely not audible?
no, it is audible. At times it's very clear. At times it just kind of phases out. So it's a little bit inconsistent. Like right now, it was absolutely fine when you said it.
I said that, right? Okay. That's probably then because of bandwidth issues with when I put on my video. So let me do this without the video. So it might kind of be better. This is better now, right? You're not finding the glitch of this one.
It's still a little bit like loud and then not so loud. So that's there.
Hopefully, it is
Maybe
better.
you continue. Yeah,
Yeah,
let's hope that will
hopefully
be
better.
fine.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because I
yeah,
probably
yeah.
cannot change bandwidth around it right now. But uh, let me just switch on. Better? Can I continue now?
Yeah, sure.
Good. Uh, No, I was touching upon the trends that are kind of changing the way that we interact, changing the way that we have started looking at technology. On some of those things that you're looking at right now on the screen were not even discussed in the 2010s to a great extent. It was never part of a technology discussion. It was never part of how the business solutions have to come up. For example, customer data platforms. Uh, uh, the single source of customer data, be it your interactions, be it your transactions, be it your the systems or the devices that you use, be it the kind of behavioral patterns that you have from a customer perspective. All of them are centralized into one source, which is then used not just by one application or one mobile app, but it is used across by multiple different mobile apps. The whole way that you've now started to look at customer data from a centralized perspective was something which was non-existing about 10 years back, but it has now become more or less a central piece of how most of the companies interact with users, interact with consumers to a great extent. Data analytics, having real-time information, insight about your business, about your trends, about where the problems are, and able to react on this. This has now become part of life. No businesses would accept accept a business solution or a business application which does not provide them with this as the basic foundation. We've all of you know about smart homes, about industry 4.0, which is kind of looking at how transformational most of the industries are going to be. Businesses are changing, right? I mean, I'll just give you an example of a company. Of a company in US, which was providing for example, they were providing this equipments which was supposed to be used for farming in the farms. And how do you sell equipments? Typically you go ahead and sell let's say the example here could be a water pump. Now how do you sell a water pump? In the traditional world, you would give a customer, sell it to him upfront and tell him this is a price for a particular water pump, right? Now there is a different way that even companies are looking at selling their products. Now they're not selling, the water pumps to those particular farmers. What they're selling them is providing them a machine and asking the farmers to use them and pay them for the amount of water that that particular machine provides as an output. And it is a consistent subscription-based model in terms of how you monetize your solutions, how you monetize your products. And this is true. I just give you that example of a very off the hand, water pump. But if you look at it, that is also true in terms of how cloud solutions are consumed, how cloud solutions are now positioned to customers, where you don't really, buy a lifetime membership for anything. You don't pay for life. You pay consistently over a period of time. This is how you watch Netflix. This is how you subscribe to Amazon or Google. The whole model of how you monetize and interact with customers, and that has gone through a particular change. I'm not going to touch through all the statistics, but this kind of gives you a idea of what are the trends and how things have changed over a period of time. If you look at it, in 2020, there were about 218 billion mobile app downloads. Now, if it's not just Generation Z or millennials. Earlier, we were all talking about millennials being the workforce, or being the people who are using mobile apps. Generation Z consumes mobile, uses mobile and applications a lot more, with the whole concept of online courses, online training, online classes. Their exposure to devices, their exposure to applications have increased over the last 1 year. Generation, between the ages of 41 and 75, you would see that this generation is not anymore behind in terms of how they're using it. And a lot of our parents, a lot of our grandparents have now become very comfortable in using applications, using mobiles, and also kind of doing their day-to-day transactions using that. Mobile ad spend would be about 240 billion, and this is a 26% growth year over year. Like, for example, in 2021, home will remain the epicenter of our work and social lives, which is, whether we like it or not, this is the situation that we are in. The way education is imparted right now, which was not thought about before, but was not considered to be mainstream. This has changed. We have now classes. Our kids attending their classes, regular classes, have not gone to schools for a year, but still able to study, still able to give their exams, still able to go ahead with their structures, which is predominantly, to a great extent, because of the kind of diversification, the kind of digitization that we have had. If we have not had that digitization, I don't think so we would be in this particular state where we would have survived the last 1 year from with the pandemic that we had. Right. The skills of the future. Effectively, we're looking at on the left side, we're looking at what are the kind of skills that we're looking at individuals to come up with, and also what are the technology skills that the World Economic Forum had predicted for 2022 in terms of adoption. We would look at app and web-enabled markets here, which is at very high. User and big data analytics at about 85%, and this is how this is how companies are going to adopt technologies, and this is how they're going to look at using those technologies in terms of enabling them to do their business, but also enabling them to kind of find out new avenues and markets for themselves, right? Cognitive flexibility, digital literacy, and computational thinking. We have, I think, some of the terms that you're looking at here from the skills, from a behavioral skills, but probably not so important when we was thinking about it from probably 2 to 3 years or 2 to 3 batches before. For example, people who passed out from colleges in the 2000s and 2010s, this was never even part of the curriculum. This was not something that they were equipped, trained, and kind of ramped up when they passed out of college. But the reason why this is important is, to a great extent, the fact remains that technology, businesses, and also the way how the working models are evolving at a very constant pace. It is not possible for them to be taught everything when they have to, when they, when the students move out of college. But some of those skills in terms of, cognitive flexibility, in terms of judgment and decision making, emotional and social intelligence, this is so important from the simple fact that it enables them to learn quickly, unlearn what they've learned, and learn new things as it is required. And that becomes a very important skill, because we looked at 2010, Java being the best buzzword, people looking at, learning Java, coming in, and that was the only skill, and all of them kind of moved out of college knowing probably just Java, C, and C from a technology perspective, right? But now, when, over those years from 2020, people are talking about AI, people are talking about behavioral science, people are talking about, RPA, automations, and so on, which was not skills that were taught in college when, when the kids passed out. But how well are they able to adapt to this? How well are they able to unlearn and learn new things? Is the, is the emotional, the social, the, the judgments, and the cognitive flexibility that the students will have, or the professionals will have, which will enable them to make this particular transformation. Very quickly into why we need app development. This is this is very straightforward. It definitely provides a very strong customer engagement. It improves your accessibility to the customer base. You're providing a value to the customer. We have now moved banking to mobile. We have now moved banking to our fingertips. The value that it is providing to us is probably not something that our people would have experienced 20 years or 10 or 15 years back, right? Building brand awareness, this is very critical for customers. How can they build the brand awareness? How can they connect to their consumer base? How can they tell those consumers what is the innovation, what is it that they're doing right now, and that consumers would have to use? And of course, to hold on to customers, loyalty is now the biggest price that can be put, and so that is something that every company, every business would like to cherish, in terms of whether they're able to hold their customers back. What are the principles? I want to kind of put this on also based on some of the experience that we had, and this is more a thought process that has to be thought when we building applications. We don't build applications for mobile applications for everything, right? For example, if you really want to do a planning from in the shop floor, where you looking at a shop floor plan and a planner is working on it, you can't provide a mobile app to to the person and ask him to do all his planning activities from the mobile. There needs to be a purpose, and that's the first part, about understanding what are you expecting your user to do. The purpose of why this particular app should be used should be absolutely clear, should be absolutely identified before you get into building a particular mobile app. You need to understand your audience. You also need to understand the user and what you expect the user to do. We are beyond those, the biggest challenge that we have with mobile apps, and it's a challenge, and it's also a boon to a great extent, is that you don't read training to be provided to users. When we used to build applications about 10 years back, ERP applications for, in SAP, we used to have a significant amount of time also spent on training users in terms of, making them understand and learn how to use an application. What do they expect when they see the screen, when they see those when they see those fields and there's buttons, and what actions should be done. There were courses and a significant amount of training that was done in terms of just about user interaction, in terms of what do they have to interact. We don't do that anymore with apps. We don't do that anymore in the mobile world. And the whole reason why you don't do that is you make it so simple, you make it so intuitive to the user who is using it, because you've already understood why is he using it and what is he looking forward to it. And that understanding of the purpose and the user is extremely critical. When you build developments, when you look at apps, and I'm going to touch a little beyond technology, because technology is straightforward, right? I mean, we have different platforms, we have different, we have different solutions or technologies with which we can build applications. But there are certain key factors that we always have to look at when we, when we build mobile apps, is the fact that how scalable are they? You will start with 50 users, you would hit 1 million users. How scalable is the application going to be? How scalable is, a simple experience of somebody logging in and getting the first screen? Because if that experience of logging in and not able to see something for about 10 seconds, then you lost your user. The user is not going to come back to experience your application. Both Rishabh and me have spent a long number of years localizing SAP products, and we realize why it is important, because we've seen the pain. When you build a solution, you also have to look at a wider audience. You have to look at an audience beyond your home place, right? Simple things of how languages. And there are certain countries where English will not work. Yeah, they will only use their applications within or apps within with their native language. A very simple example is Google themselves now coming up and translating their applications into close to about 20 different Indian languages, allowing people to communicate, chat on Indian languages. So that itself is a very significant, uh, you know, uh, you know. Point to say that why localization is important. And localization is not just beyond languages. Localization is also about rules, different country rules that are applicable. The way that you do transactions in different countries are different. And this has to be thought about, this has to be experienced when you already build into a solution. Security is foremost. Vulnerability of mobile apps has been the biggest challenge. And that is a problem, right? I mean, we always think that we put on a username and a password and we feel that the app is secure. I think the fact of teaching students the understanding that they have from a security perspective, when they do threat modeling exercises to understand what are the kind of threats that are that would penetrate your applications, how can you block those threats, how can you build your solutions in with a wall which is able to block those threats, and make it less vulnerable as far as possible. I guess that is the most biggest challenge and most important thing that has to be kept in mind. Very quickly, your total cost of ownership of an app and the return of investment that you get on it is absolutely important. You always have to see what is the purpose, why are you giving it, and how much do you need, what kind of a technology, what kind of a platform do you need that has to be built on, because every decision that you take when you're building it adds to your own ownership cost as far as the mobile app is concerned, and probably has an impact on your ROI at the end of the day, right? Marketing and communication channel extremely important. I don't think so any app can survive if it is just it is well built, it is stable, it is doing its purpose, but it needs to have a reach. There needs to be a way it has to be communicated. There needs to be a way in which users and consumers know when they have to get to that particular app and how they have to use this particular application. I would leave you with the last slide, and I'm sorry for the audio problems that we've had, but I just want to end with the last slide in terms of what are the kind of best practices, and these are just food for thought. This is something that you always have to keep in mind when you're building mobile apps. The very simple thing of saying that how much is it, how much of a battery life is your mobile app consuming? Yeah, we always have this problem. The moment you download some apps, you will see that it eats more into your battery, faster into your into your battery life. I spoke about data security. Data synchronization is an extremely important. So we spoke about customer data platforms when I started off. Beyond customer data platforms, data synchronization between mobile, synchronization between your your off mobile applications, helping customers to be online, offline, and still able to manage the data between transactions. I think this is very important. UX has become the most important aspect now, and it is not about complex UX. The world has changed to a great extent, where everybody is accepted the fact that the most simple it is, the better it is for for a user. Don't if you don't have to give too many colors, you don't have to put too many informations. You have to keep it as simple as possible, as readable as possible, even with a lot of blank spaces. The biggest example all of you know is the fact that Google has been successful with just one text box, nothing else overall. Multiple network compatibility, definitely, and yes, this was going to be a course on Android. I understand that, But I guess device portability of your applications and also platform portability of your applications is extremely important. It has to be agnostic to whether an application is run by a user in iOS or Android, for the simple fact that we don't control the devices that a consumer is going to use, right? Irrespective of what the consumer uses, the application should be available on all the platforms that are there. With that, I would like to end the keynote, and thank you for giving me the time and the opportunity to share a little bit of experience, a little bit of thought that we've gained over the years with all of you, and hope it was useful.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your sharing your experiences about your work and the best practices. What is the importance of Android? All those things. Once again, I'm thanking Mr. Vipin and Mr. Rishabh, sir. If participants, anybody needs to interact with sir, you can just interact for another 2-3 minutes. The next session we have installation of your Android Studio. So I request all the participants to have your own system to be ready. Any questions to Rishabh sir or Vipin sir from participant side?
Mahalakshmi madam?
Yes, ma'am.
I don't think any queries from the participants.
Okay, ma'am. Shall we start the next session?
Yeah, I just would like to thank Vipin Shivshankaran sir and Rishabh sir for accepting our invitation and giving us more insight about our latest technologies and the new skills like cognitive flexibility, judgments and decision, leadership, emotional and social intelligence. So these are some of the things which is being not learned in any schools and colleges, but it comes gradually, and the learn and unlearn things, so which is very much essential in all generations, right? So thank you, sir, and you have given a very detailed picture about the app development, what it is and why it is and what platform is required, how the marketing. So all very briefly have explained the complete app development concepts from the user to the customer, from the developer to the customer. Thank you, sir, for your keynote speech.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Pushpa. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, then we'll both log out, and all the best to the participants for the workshop. Yeah, and yeah, thanks
sir.
once again.
You,
yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Alan?
Yes, ma'am.
I think it's echoing, Alan.
Once. Now is it okay?
Yeah.
So I am Alan Benny, and I'll start with the installation procedure. So I'll present
just 1 minute, Alan.
Yeah.
I request all the participants to be ready with your system. Okay, this session will be handled by Mr. Alan Benny. It's our own student from Department of CSE. He has been working with Android for more than a year, and he is currently making apps in Java and Flutter platform. And he has worked with 2 companies as interns and also worked as a freelancer in the past. I request Alan to start the session.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. So,
From your just a minute. From your side, if any doubts or something is there, you can ask. If it is taking more time, you just finish your procedures and then you can just talk to him if any doubts or any problems is there during installation. Thank you. Over to you, Alan.
yes, ma'am.
Alan, you tell the URL also so that they can go and then download this. Participants can go to the URL which is shared. Alan, please unmute yourself. One minute. Sorry for the inconvenience. He will start from here only.
Morning, everyone. So first of all, we have to download the Android Studio setup. So for that, we'll go to the link provided in the chat section, and then we have to click the download button. It is around a 800 MB file. So first, we need to download that. So please start your downloads, and then we have to wait for it to so we'll wait for the download to finish, and then after that, we'll walk through on how to install Android Studio on laptops. And about me, I'm a CAC for third year student currently in BMSIT, and I've been working in Android for over more than 1 year. I have worked with two companies, and I do Android development in Java as well as Flutter. So right now, Android is the kind of trend which is going on, and the Flutter is backed up by Google, due to which it has increased. The popularity of Flutter has increased by a huge amount. So in this workshop, we will be learning mostly Java, and at the end of the workshop, we'll be able to build more than basic apps in Java and using Android Studio. So let us wait for the download to complete so that we can get started.
So once the download completes, we can start with the setup. First of all, we have to open the setup we have just downloaded. It takes a while, then it starts up. If it asks us any dialog, please press yes.
Alan, it is echoing.
Okay. Yeah. So after you have downloaded the setup and opened the setup, so let us go to the walkthrough. So first click next, and please make sure this is ticked, and then go for the next one. You can directly keep on going next, and just press the install button. That will extract all the necessary files which were there in the setup and set them up on your computer. So as we can see, the setup has been installed completely. So if everything works fine, then we have to just press next. And then we can start the Android Studio. We have to make sure but there is Java JDK already installed in the computer. If not, we can go to Oracle site and then download the Java ADK. It should be a minimum of 8. Right now, it will work for 8 or above. So, but it is better to get the latest version of the JDK. So once Android Studio starts, you can see it basically loads a helper program, like the Hello World program, which is the basic program. We can close the project because we need to install some things which are required to run the programs. So once Android Studio is installed and you open it up, something like this will pop up. So first of all, to run any code in Android Studio, what we need is an SDK. So first we have to go to configure, which is on the bottom right corner, and go to the SDK manager. And then we have to install a few things. Preferably, we can install anything, but I would prefer Android 8 or an Android 8.1. Just make sure it's ticked and press on apply. That will download around a 94 MB file, and that will get you the latest SDK. So it will automatically download all the files required and extract it and also install it. So we don't have to worry anything.
Alan, can you just one more time repeat whatever we have done till now?
Yes, ma'am. So first of all, we use the link provided in the chat. We went to that section and then we clicked on this button and downloaded the Android Studio setup. Then we opened up Android Studio setup and then just forwarded, pressed next again and again. Everything was automatically set. And then we installed the Android Studio. After installing the Android Studio, we opened up Android Studio. Then after opening up Android Studio, on the bottom right corner, there was a section called Configure. We clicked on that and then we clicked on the SDK manager. After that, after going to the SDK manager, we have to get an SDK installed for which we can run our apps. So we decided to use the Android 8.0 Oreo SDK. So we tick marked the checkbox next to it and then clicked on apply button. And then the download has automatically started and it's already installed.
Hello, sir. Do we need any JDK for this?
Yeah, we need a JDK. So we have to make sure Java JDK is already installed in our computers before running it. So if not installed, we can go to the Oracle site, which is like being shown, and then we can download any Java. Java SE8 works fine, and we can download the JDK, and then we can just go through the installation setup. So as we can see, the installation for the SDK is finished. Now we have to install some SDK tools, which will be required again for deployment. So first of all, we need to select the first box, which says Android SDK build tools. Whatever.
Alan,
yeah.
Excuse me. Yeah. So they're asking any specific folder we need to choose for installation or?
No need of a specific folder. We can, the by default folder is enough. But if we have like less space in C drive, we can even go for another drive. If space issue is there, we can select another drive. Just we need to make a folder.
Okay. You can continue, Alan.
So like first we have to, we are done with the SDK platform installation. Now we need to go to the SDK tools installation. So in SDK tools, we have to first of all check the first checkbox, which says Android SDK build tools. And apart from that, we need the Android SDK command line tools. For like deploying our apps, we can use an Android emulator. So we're going to install an Android emulator as well as the Android SDK platform tools. Apart from that, we also use the Intel emulator accelerator for better performance of the emulator. So then we'll go next and then click on apply. We'll download everything and then we can continue. Okay, I'll present again. Yeah, it works. So first we have to go, like we installed the Android 8.0 Oreo. Now we need to go to the SDK tool section. And then we have to use, first of all, checkbox the first first box, which says Android SDK build tools. And apart from that, we also need the Android SDK command line tools, the Android emulator, the Android SDK platform tools, and at the end, the Hacksum installer, which will boost up the emulator performance. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, these 5 things, please make sure it's checked, and then we can just go for apply. I'll keep it over here. Just make sure you accept both. So I'll keep it on the screen so that we can see what and also required.
Any doubts till this point? Participants, if you have any doubts till this point, a little slow you go, okay?
Okay, ma'am, I'll move through. The Intel Hacksum emulator, even if it doesn't install, there's no worry, because in some laptops you need to enable virtualization, which will be enabled through the BIOS. So even if it doesn't work, it's okay, we can just go. Because the BIOS settings is not enabled, so we couldn't finish with the setup. But it's okay, just we need to go finish and then we can continue. We can also use our mobile phones for development. That is a better option because the emulator will consume a lot of memory from our computers. So to install, like you run the apps on your mobile phones, you can just connect the mobile phones using a USB cable, and you have to switch on the developer options. I'll show how it's done.
This is another option. If you don't have emulator, you can just connect your mobile phone to see your examples working. So this is another option, how to connect your mobile phone to your laptop.
Yeah. So first of all, we need to go to this. If we are doing that option, go to the settings, about phone, then go to the about phone section, and there would be a build number in your phone. Every phone is a bit different, so the build number would be somewhere. And then we have to click the build number a few times. That will enable the developer mode if we are not using the emulator. First of all, let's just finish with the setup installation, then we'll see. I'll go through the setup again. So first of all, what we did was we went to the site provided in the chat section. Then we downloaded the Android Studio code setup. Then we opened up the setup and then just install the setup on any directory whichever we want. The by default directory is already set, but if you want to change the directory, we can always change that. And then after installing Android Studio, we opened up Android Studio. On the bottom right hand corner, we had a configure section. Then we had gone to the SDK manager. After that, we had to get an SDK for running our apps. So we decided to get the Android 8.0 Oreo SDK. We just tick mark the checkbox and then clicked on apply that and agreed to the license terms. That downloaded the setup and then installed and unzipped and did everything for us. After that, we went to the SDK tool section and then we downloaded 5 things: the Android SDK build tools, Android SDK command line tools, Android emulator, and Android SDK platform tools. We also installed the Hackzim installer, but mostly you have to enable virtualization in your BIOS to get that. Even if it is not there, there is no worries. We can still run our apps. We can get with the setup later. So these 4 things are really necessary: the SDK build tools, the SDK command line tools, emulator, and SDK platform tools. If we have decided not to use an emulator, rather than an emulator, we have decided to use our own phones. We can do that also. We just need to connect our phones using a USB cable, and then we need to go to the settings. Then after going to settings, we have to go to about phone. And in about phone, there would be a build number. In MI phones, it would be mostly MI UI version, something like that. So just we need to click 7 times. So whenever we click 1 or 2 times, a pop-up message will come like you are 7 steps away from being a developer. So after clicking 7 times, you will become a developer. And there would be an extra option in the phone where when we open settings, that would be a developer option. We just need to scroll there and there would be a setting called USB debugging. We just need to check that setting and that's it. We are connected with, then we can use our own phones to run our apps. If any doubts, anyone can ask.
I hope, I think everyone has understood.
Okay, ma'am. I'll wait. If anyone has doubts, you can write in the comments.
Mobile, that's what, after mobile connection also, you just once do it and then show how it is connected and how to that. Okay.
Okay, I'll show that. Now I'll even show how to set up this on a mobile phone. So I have a phone right now. First of all, I'll go to settings. I'll switch off presenting from here. So in a phone, first of all, I need to go to settings. Then after going to settings, then I can go to the about phone section over here. And then every phone will have a different name. So here it's an MI phone. So the name is MIUI version. Basically, it would be build number or something. So I need to click over here. A pop-up comes, you are a developer. But for if you haven't used it yet, it will show you are just 7 steps away from being a developer. So you have to click it again and again. The count will start decreasing. And then at the end, it will say, congratulations, you are a developer. After you have become a developer, you can go back and then you can directly even search it in settings, search for USB debugging. So after searching for USB debugging, the first option most probably would tell us that that would lead us to the developer options. So we'll find USB debugging and then we'll switch it on. Just go switch it on. It will pop up and just press OK. And in some phones, in basically MI phones, you'll have to log in using your MIUI ID. And if there is a option called install via USB, make sure it's checked. It will ask you to log in. Just make sure you do that, and then you can just connect this phone to your computer, and then you can start Android development on this phone, on your own phone. So after that, if you want to enable virtualization, which I was talking about, we can do that using like this. First of all, we need to go to the BIOS setup, and then most probably under security, there will be an option called system security. Just go over there. This is for installing the Haxim installer. So to run an emulator, to speed up the emulator process and all, Haxim installer is required. So for that, we just can go to File, then you can go to Security. Open the BIOS setting, go to Security. There will be an option called System Security. Just open that up. There will be an option called Virtualization Technology. Make sure
Madam, turn the phone might is there and rotate. I mean, just rotate left side.
Okay, I'll see.
Yeah, correct.
Okay. So first of all, you need to go to the BIOS, and then there will be an option called security inside that. So in security, there will be an option called system security. Just go inside that, and there will be an option called virtualization technology. Just make sure that is enabled. If it is disabled, just click on enter and then make it enabled. And then after that, you can go back, and then you can just save the options, and then you can save changes and exit. So what that will do is, after that, you can start installing even the Haxim emulator on your phones, on your laptops. The installation steps are over. I'll even start up a basic program and show you guys how it's done. So to get started with the basic program, the Hello World program, first of all, after everything is installed, after all the steps are done, please click on a create new project. And after that, just click on an empty activity. I'll go again. Open up Android Studio, click on create a new project, click on empty activity, go for next, then give a suitable application name, and then just select a minimum SDK version. So what I would prefer is go for Android 5.0 or above. So this specifies what is the minimum Android required to run any application. So the Android phones on which we'll be running our applications should be a minimum of Android 5.0. Nowadays, the latest one is Android 11, but basically most of the phones have 8 or 9. So just we can, this is the package name. This is used to define an Android app. So every Android app has an identity, and that identity can be only identified using the package name. And whenever we upload our apps on Play Store or anything, the package name is what identifies every app, distinguishes every app from the other app. No two applications can have the same package name when deploying to a place like Play Store. So after that, make sure you have a name, the package name is there, and the minimum SDK version is 5.0. Don't check this option, use legacy because we'll be making use of the latest Android versions. Then just click on finish. Android Studio will automatically create a new project and download everything that is required. Please wait for the Gradle to build. And then everything will be downloaded automatically. I think the screen is being displayed. It's already being shared. You can check it with the name ISE-FTP.
So the language should be Kotlin or Java?
So the language should be Java. So we are going to do Android development in Java in this FTP. So we have chosen.
Just wait, Alan. Even I'm not getting the screen. ISE-FTP.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Okay. So the language we are going to use is Java, and there is also an option of Kotlin. So Kotlin is the latest version, which is given by Google again. Java is called what we are going to do is called native Android development. So we are just going to use Java, or Kotlin also is a native Android development and make apps. Other alternative is also Flutter. Flutter, the best thing about Flutter is that with one code, you can make apps for iOS as well as Android. Whereas in Java and Kotlin, you can only make for Android. But Flutter is relatively new in the market, and right now it's not as prevalent as Java. Java has been there for a while right now, and almost most of the apps which are running on Android are Java based. So the Android Studio takes some time to index everything up and download all the Gradle files, Gradle files are basically the files which are needed to require and compile all the code and generate a suitable APK version. And APK is used to install apps on your mobile phones. So we just need to wait. Android Studio does it automatically for us, and then we'll have a basic program ready. That is the Hello World program. As we can see, everything has run successfully. And this is the basic Hello World program, which Android Studio automatically makes for us. So this is every Android Studio program has two parts, the Java file and the XML file. The Java file works as the kind of backend required, whereas the XML file is how the app would look on your screen. So in the Android Studio, you'll have a display on what the app looks like on the screen. So for example, we have a text view, which is used to display text on the screen. And as we can see on the right side, it's a bit small, but you can see a hello world text is being there. So if you run this app, a hello world text would be there on the screen. We can change anything, and that would be what will be printed next. It's live, so we can change anything. So this is the basic program, and when we connect our devices will show up over here, and then we can just press this button, which will install which will compile everything and install the APK on our mobile phones or even our emulators.
Alan, is it possible to zoom the screen, ma?
I'll try to increase the font size. I'll do that. Yeah, so this is. So Android also allows us to drag and drop anything that is required. So using the design section, we can just drag and drop any text, anything what we required onto the screen, and just grab it and drag it over here. And then that will end up in a text box like this. So this was the basic installation setup with the basic Hello World program in Android Studio. If any queries, you can ask. So as we can see, we have a hello text over here. So this is called a text view. So what basically we see is a text view over here. Text views are just basically like we are printing something on the screen. So there are other types. We can go to the design section and explore the other types also. So there are other types like there is a plain text, which what we are seeing right here is an example of plain text. This is password text. So the difference between the plain text and the password text is that the password text is hidden. Like when we input any password, it is shown as asterisk. So that is the best feature. So whenever we are using, we want to take an input from the user or show any password, we can use the password text. And apart from that, we have text for emails, phones, and literally anything you want. We can just drag and drop like I have done. And to basically get started, you can just, to place it on the screen, there are 4 ends. You can just click on the any end and just stick it to the other side. Click on the right end and stick it to the other side. And then the top end and also the bottom one. So what that will do is that will place, then you can relatively place it anywhere. So if I place it over here and here, and then if I get a basic plain text also. This is used for setting up the position which relative to every phone. So what we have done is like we can just drag the 4 edges of the text view onto the 4 sides of the screen. What this does is like it calculates automatically what distance should be this name text field with respect to the left edge of the screen. As we know that every phone has a different size. So we don't want our text views to overflow from one side. So using this layout, it is called, as you can see, a constraint layout. So we are constraining all the 4 ends and setting up it on the screen. So this is a basic setup, like you have a name and you have a password field. And if you need a button, you can just go and drag and drop a button. And then we can just, again, constrain it. We can even constrain it with respect to one another. So if I go over here, what happens is that it is set up with respect to the text view over here. So this button can be, this is like the base, and this is the code part. So basically we have three designs: the code part, the design part, which is totally drag and drop, the code part, which is totally writing the code, and there is the split part, which in which we can write the code as well as we can edit some attributes over here. And apart from that, we can change anything. Like if we see the text's name over here, we can change it to anything, and that would be instantly reflected on the screen also. And we can then change this, instead of using the word button, we can use login. So this is how a basic login screen looks like. We are logging into. Then we have a name section, and then we have a section for password, and then a login button. So this is the basic layout of a login button. If we want to get rid of this, we can do that also. Just going design, to get rid of that. That is like the blueprint, which helps us to tell what is where with respect to each other. It is usually used when the layout is too complex. Otherwise, we can just use the design layout and we can see how it looks. Everything can be changed. Like every attribute has, like if you go for background and then we change the background, something like the tint, we have to change the background tint for that. The button becomes black. So anything you need to change, you can do it with the code, or you can just click on the button. I preferably go to the design section, click on the button. On the right side, you'll have a panel. Then you can search for anything, whatever is there. So we can see the background tint option is here. And then there is a option to select. So if I go for teal and press OK, that will give a teal background. If I want to change the text size or the text like color, anything that can be done here. Text appearance, font family, text size, text color, anything can be changed. Go for bold, that will become bold, italic. This is a drag and drop and interactive version, the GUI version, whereas the code also, you can do it using the code. And subsequent code will be automatically generated by Android Studio if you do anything in the design section. So this is the basic setup and the basic Hello World program. Now we have done a little bit more and made it look a little bit more interactive and like whatever we use in daily lives. We can also give a background to this part. Something lighter. There is a color switcher also. You can just select something lighter. That will, and then you can even specify the color. So whenever we write anything, the Android Studio gives us a recommendation, which makes everything much more simpler. So this is the basic Hello World program. And if anyone has any doubts, you can ask, like even with installation or anything.
Is anyone is having any doubts in this session? So we have seen the installation of Android Studio and JDK if it is not installed previously, and there is an option instead of emulator, you can just see your output in your mobile, how to connect your mobile. So these three things we have seen. And he also told how to change the background text color as simple outline changes and then a small execution of Hello World program. So with this, we will stop this session. And the next session will start by 2 o'clock. And you can use the same link to join the next session. If any doubts are there, it is open to you. Please everyone try to install Android Studio. So it will be much more better when you execute your programs or any programs or projects in the next days, the coming days. So if you don't have any doubts, we can wind up the session. Yeah, sure. We will be sharing all the recorded video of all the sessions to you, madam, so that it will be help you to during installation time or any doubts you have. Surely we will do, but for the next days, it is better if you have already installed the Android Studio JDK and be prepared, so that it will be helpful for you to execute parallelly the programs. I hope that everyone can understood all the things, whatever we have discussed in this session. So I would like to thank Alan for his sharing his knowledge, right, on installation and layout of this. He will be there with us for all the next 3 days also. Thank you, Alan.
Thank you.
Please join us on 2 p.m. with the same link. Thank you.